Hey, Greg, it's time. You ready?
Yeah, I'll be right there. I just need to finish up this email.
Can you save the email till later?
And hit send. There. I'm here.
Greg, it's time for the Northeast Filmmakers Lab, 7th edition. You don't need the mask.
You know? Well, listen, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right. And also, I cannot wait to announce the winner.
It's a lab. It's not a festival. So there's 3 days of film talks and project presentations, VIP mixers, and screenings. Here, watch the video.
Filmmakers should come to a lab surrounded by professional experts who can help you navigate what you don't know.
If you've got any questions, anything that's affiliated with filmmaking, it can be found at CCCE.
The lab is really accessible. It's very welcoming.
The networking aspect is invaluable.
Really looking forward with mentorship and just talking to more like industry professionals, and I definitely got that.
Gives me a chance to just kind of relax into my film and learn.
A lot of good information on diversity and inclusion and stuff like that.
Take advantage of this resource because I've never seen anything like it.
Come to the Northeast Filmmakers Lab. Advance your project to completion.
So no winners?
That's Sunday, 1 p.m., when they're going to announce one winner that's going to win $10,000 in production services. $10,000. Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Then I'll be able to announce the winners?
Well, first you have to know how to pitch.
Ooh, and that's coming up later this morning with Krueger.
That's right. But why don't we take a minute to thank our sponsors first, because without them, none of this would be possible.
It's very true, Donna. They're generous people. And then after that, we'll tell our guests and everybody here about our 3-day schedule.
Let's do it. That's the way forward.
People ask me, how do we get the wines to taste the way they do? I always tell them the key is balance. It's like music. Every element needs to complement. You know, that takes a lot of hard work. I named Josh Sellers after my father. He's always on my mind when we make our wines. We get accolades from wine critics, and that's great, but what gives me the most joy is when someone tells us that they love our wines. Have a taste. Let us know what you think.
I can't wait for the VIP mixer with Josh Wine. That's a lot of screen time now.
That's why we're having coffee breaks and dinner breaks and wine breaks.
And booze breaks, right? And then ultimately, you're going to have a restroom break.
Yeah, well, you know, that's a 10-100, and let's not go there. Why don't we introduce the lab fellows instead?
That sounds like a good idea, Donna. And a movie. The Way Forward.
The Way Forward. Cheers.
Cheers. cool projects.
Indeed.
And the winner is?
Greg, everyone's a winner just by being here.
Hoo-ha! Now a few words from our good friend, Albany Film Commissioner Debbie Gedeke, Joe Carr of Josh Wines,
And Marcus Pryor of Albany Wine and Dine for the Art.
Hi, everyone. Deb Gedeke, Film Albany, Albany County Film Commissioner. I would like to welcome each and every one of you to the 7th edition of the Northeast Filmmakers Lab. You are going to be in for such a treat over the next couple of days. Congratulations to Mike Camoin and his entire team for putting on another stellar program from the Capitol Cinema Cultural Exchange. I remember 7 years ago when this all started, and now it has really taken on a life of its own. This year's program is one of the most diverse, from the submissions as well as the mentors that will be with each and every one of you. So soak it all in this weekend. You're in a safe environment, you're among friends. And by this time, by the time this airs, we will know who the next president is. I will either be drinking tequila or moving to Canada. Love you all.
Hi, everybody. I'm Joseph Carr, and I'd like to welcome everyone to the Northeast Filmmakers Lab. We at Josh Cellars, we are pleased to sponsor and be part of this 7th edition. Congratulations to the 11 lab fellows, and thanks to all the mentors for committing time to advance these projects to completion. You know, the arts has been a big part of my life. Growing up in the Capital District, I worked with the Empire State Theater and up in Saratoga, and the arts are critical. It's critical to our culture. It's critical to our community. So I like to toast everybody and raise a glass and have a good time.
Hey folks, welcome to Albany. Well, at least virtually welcome to Albany. My name is Marcus Q. Pryor, and I'm the president of the board of directors of the Albany Chefs Food and Wine Festival, Wine and Dine for the Arts. We're a proud sponsor of the Northeast Filmmakers Lab, and we're proud to play a small role in the sustainability of your medium and help support your artistic growth. Congratulations to the Northeast Filmmakers Lab, and congratulations to the 11 lab fellows joining from across the globe. I know you're going to have a fun and productive experience. This is going to be more fun than a World Cup soccer tournament. Well, definitely more fun than the 2014 tournament for the Brazilians. Not so much sure about the Germans. I'm still a little bitter. I should probably stop right now. Anyway, congratulations and enjoy.
Hey, Don, I was thinking about something. Do you think there's a chance that Mike Coyne is related to Keith Raniere from Nexium?
That's a bit of a stretch, don't you think?
I don't know. I mean, Keith Raniere went to RPI. Mike started his, I don't know, film lab at RPI. I don't. They both wear glasses.
But
you know what I mean? That's odd right there.
I know. I still think it's a bit of a stretch. I mean, just because they play the piano and they have an RPI connection. Yeah, I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, but Raniere manipulated people. NLP. I mean, Mike's a director. He doesn't like to take orders. He always pushing people around.
But
I think there's some. I think they're related, and something. See something. Say something.
It's kind of not the same thing.
It's not how. I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe you're right. Maybe you know what? I always thought it. You know what? You're right. You're right. We should probably move on. I'm sorry.
Okay.
This is good talk. Good talk.
Yes. Good talk.
Here we go. And the envelope, please.
Yes. Now let's go to the Northeast Filmmakers Lab with founding director Mike Camoin.
Folks, we're about to have a good time. There are no rules. We're a lab. So let's not take ourselves so seriously and have some fun. I'd like to thank each member of our board and hope we can take some group photos before the lab wraps. Lab fellows, mentors, board. We love to just capture this moment. So I want to just say a few things about what we've been going through. Back in April, Carol Dean, who is with us this morning from Ventura, California. Thank you so much, Carol, for being us. You reminded us artists on your weekly trainings from the heart, productions.com. Carol said, we were all made for this moment, us artists. And I believe that's true. We're the most creative problem solvers on the planet. And I want to thank a few folks now who helped did some problem solving. Eric Vollweiler, in charge of marketing and sponsorship. Eric was my co-pilot earlier this year during COVID when we launched Check the Gates 15 episodes. That gave us a sense that we could pull this off. Thanks to Rich Loveridge for designing our cool digital program booklet, which will appear in the chat for easy download later this morning. Thanks to Magic Wig, Justin Main, my co-pilot here over the next 3 days. I'll be thanking others as we go along. I want to welcome our new friends from Brazil, the Cabiria Film Festival. I wish all our lab fellows and mentors a great journey. So here's what I want to say about the pandemic. Making a movie, a short, a feature, a documentary is an act of collaboration. Going to the moon may soon be easier than making a movie. Yet the lab environment is intended to make the process easier. Not just these next 3 days, but year round. So in the words of Winston Churchill, if you're going through hell, keep going. And that's what we're doing. And let's make it fun. That's a skill. Pitching is a skill. And I want to bring up our keynote speaker, Jacob Krueger. So let's activate Jacob if we can. I first heard Jacob present at Cannes virtually. I've attended multiple trainings on pitching, yet I consider Jacob Krueger among the best instructors. We're delighted you're here. I've taken Jacob's 4-week screenwriting course. Jacob's the founder of the Jacob Krueger Studios. He's worked with thousands of writers, from Academy and Tony Award winners to beginning writers picking up the pen for the first time. I encourage everyone here, take his class at writeyourscreenplay.com. He's a WGA Paul Selvin award-winning screenwriter, playwright, producer, and director. His approach makes sense. And if folks haven't signed up for the pitch contest on Sunday, after listening to the next 60, 75 minutes, you'll want to reserve your spot. Do it. Do it for the practice of it. Do it for the fun of it.
All right. Hello, beautiful people. I'm so excited to be here with you. And so you know, this is for you. So if you have questions while I'm speaking, if there are things that don't make sense, if there are things you want to know more about, please feel free to use the Q&A. And I will answer the questions, if I can, right there in the moment as part of the lecture. Or if it doesn't make sense to do that, then I'll make sure to get to them at the end. I want to make sure that all of you get what you need so that you can be prepared for the Pitch Fest at the end of this lab. But more importantly, so the pitching can be something that is comfortable for you. It's an unfortunate fact that the screenwriting industry, the television writing industry, they put writers in this kind of odd position, right? Which is they take people who tend to be extroverts or introverts, and they put them in a position where they have to be extroverts, right? They take people who would really just love to be curled up with a laptop and their characters, and they put them in a position where they have to become salespeople. And for a lot of writers, that's terrifying. Even a lot of writers making the transition into television writing, right? Where suddenly you're in a room and you have to pitch, you have to sell an idea. It's not just about sitting down and going, I know nobody else knows that this can work yet, but just watch what happens when I start weaving. And so what happens to a lot of writers is we write these incredibly beautiful scripts, and then we really stumble when it's time to talk about them. And I know this because early in my career, this was my problem. I was so comfortable in front of my laptop, but I was so uncomfortable in networking and pitching situations. I was so uncomfortable. I had terrible social anxiety. And it was really terrifying for me to pitch. And the biggest thing about pitching that was so hard for me back in those days was that I felt like I wasn't being myself. You know, I felt like I had to be this thing, and I didn't quite know what that thing was. And because the universe is cruel and kind at the same time, I got put into a position where I had to learn to pitch. A job was created for me where I was an in-house writer, but I was also a producer, and that meant that I had to learn to talk on the phone. I had to learn how to sell stuff. I had to learn how to interact with network and studio executives, and I was kind of thrown into the fire. And at first, I really made every mistake that a person could make because I was so damn scared. And then I started to realize the real problem was not that I didn't know how to pitch. The real problem that I wasn't being authentically myself. And the real problem that I was thinking like a used car salesman rather than thinking like a writer. And let me tell you what I mean by that. A used car salesman, I'm sure there are some used car salesmen who are exceptions to the rule, but the stereotypical used car salesman that we imagine doesn't give a crap about the customer. The used car salesman is just thinking, I got this clunker sitting on the lot and I've got to move it. And I don't care if I sell a minivan to a 40-year-old man who's having a midlife crisis, or if I sell a Lamborghini to a family of 5. I don't care. I just have to move these cars. I just have to sell these cars. And that, of course, is what a lot of screenwriters feel like, right? We feel that desperation. I just have to sell it. 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 And if you happen to have a background in sales, then you can ignore this because there are some people who just love selling. They just love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. But most of those people are not writers. Most of those people are not filmmakers. So I realized I was behaving like a used car salesman. And then I started thinking about my projects, and I realized I'm not selling a used car. What I'm actually selling is a Lamborghini. Meaning, most of the people out there hawking scripts are not selling scripts that are valuable. They're not selling scripts that are sellable even. They're not even selling scripts that are makeable. And I'm not talking about up and coming emerging people like you. I'm talking about established writers with agents and managers. Most people in the industry are not selling perfectly, beautifully executed scripts that can really be made. What they're doing is they're banging out as many crappy drafts as they can with good ideas and throwing them up against the wall to see if they stick. And if you've ever been a coverage reader, you know this. If a coverage reader reads 1,000 scripts, 1,000 of them are bad. And I don't mean bad like, well, I mean like unproducible bad. It takes a lot of work to generate a really great script. It takes so much work. And it takes a lot of training, and it takes a lot of feedback. It takes a lot of mentorship. You know, for example, I just taught, I teach a Write Your TV series class, and I was just teaching Game of Thrones. I was teaching the pilot of Game of Thrones, and we got our hand not on the original pilot, but on one of the original pilot scripts. And when you read that script, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. In fact, they started shooting it and they got in so much trouble that HBO actually shut down production because it was so clearly not working. And it wasn't until too late that they got a guy named Craig Mazin, who some of you guys might know from Script Notes. They got Craig Mazin involved. They realized, oh my God, we're really talented directors and HBO believes in us, but we're little baby writers and we need some help. And they finally got Craig involved. And if you look at the actual pilot of Game of Thrones, it's some of the best writing ever. And it's actually very authentic to what they were doing in the pilot. It's just there's an extra level of craft that actually makes it work. There's just an extra level of structure that Craig Mazin helped them figure out. So what's important about this is if you haven't done the work, if you still have the early draft of Game of Thrones and not the final draft of Game of Thrones, if you are really doing this out in a vacuum without professional guidance and mentorship and support, and when I say professional, I don't mean a coverage reader who's getting paid $50 a script. I mean somebody professional. And there are people that you can get to, and we can talk about how to do that and how to find mentors towards the end of this lecture. But if you're not 100% sure your script is ready to go, then don't sell it. Don't even think about pitching. Now, that doesn't apply, by the way, for the pitch fest. Have fun at the pitch fest, right? Make it a learning experience if your script isn't ready. But don't dedicate hundreds of hours of your life to pitching just to go through the door when it finally opens and realize you're not wearing pants. Because you get one chance to open a door with somebody. And if you go through that door too early, that door's not going to open for you again. Especially as a new writer, an emerging writer. If you're a famous writer and you go through the door and you're not wearing pants, someone's going to say, "Oh, Jim, you forgot to put your pants on," and you get to go through the door again. But if you're an emerging writer and you go through the door with no pants, that door ain't opening again. Not only that, the door to all the people that person knows isn't opening again. So I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm actually saying this to challenge you. Because if you actually do the work, if your script is actually ready to go, that means that you have something incredibly rare and incredibly valuable. You have something that everybody in the world needs. In other words, you have a Lamborghini. You don't have a used car. And here's the thing about a Lamborghini. Not everybody wants a Lamborghini. Different producers are looking for different things. But the person who wants a Lamborghini is already looking for it. They're desperate for it. And they will pay just about anything to get it. You don't have to sell a Lamborghini. You don't have to convince somebody that it's worth it. All you have to do with a Lamborghini is display it. So I want you to get out of the used car business, and I want you to get into the Lamborghini salesman business. I want you to make sure that you're not pitching stuff that's not a Lamborghini. And if you need help, I want you to make sure you get the help so you know, because sometimes we don't know. And then I want you to learn how to sell like a Lamborghini dealer. Because many of us, we're so desperate, right? This is what we do, and we turn everybody off. Oh my God, you're a producer. Oh my God, let me pitch you my script. Oh my God, could I have a meeting? Oh my God, right? I actually remember back in my early career days, my next door neighbor was a hugely talented actor. And I really believed in him. And I was working as a producer, and there was a young, hungry manager that I befriended. And I knew he was looking for clients. And we were having a big party. So I invited that manager, and I tried to introduce him to my actor friend. And my actor friend immediately made the worst possible mistake and tried to sell himself as an actor to this manager instead of just talking to him like a human being. And you know what happened, of course. My manager friend promptly left the party, and my actor friend didn't get signed. Whereas I know if my actor friend had just talked to him, just like you would to a person that you find interesting, eventually he would have asked my actor friend, oh, well, what do you do? And my actor friend could have said, oh, well, I'm an actor. So I want you to remember that pitching is personal, and it doesn't come from a place of desperation. It comes from a place of connection. What you're actually doing when you pitch is you are offering to help someone in need.